Have you ever felt like you were stuck in a loop? That certain events and emotions keep repeating in your life, and you can't quite explain why? Maybe you're chasing a dream that always feels just out of reach. Maybe you've achieved things others admire, yet deep inside, there's still a void, as if one essential piece is missing. What you're about to hear might be that missing piece. Carl Jung, one of the most influential thinkers in modern psychology, once said, "Nothing in life happens by chance. Once you understand that, you begin to see the answers that have been quietly waiting within your story all along." The moment you were born was not just the beginning of your life, it was the start of a profound connection between you and the universe. With your very first breath, the world didn't just welcome you, it marked you with a unique energy that shaped your subconscious and your path in life. An invisible imprint, powerful yet subtle. Jung called it the collective unconscious, a deep psychological layer shared by all of humanity. Filled with symbols and archetypes that influence our thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Your birth month, Jung believed, holds a key to understanding these archetypal forces within you. Since ancient times, cultures across the world have believed that the moment of birth carries meaning. It doesn't lock your fate, but it reflects your tendencies, strengths, and even your inner shadows. Just as each season has its rhythm, winter invites reflection, spring brings renewal, summer offers growth, and autumn brings introspection. Your birth month carries an energy that shapes your nature. But here's the challenge: if you don't recognize that energy, you might unknowingly live against it. You might chase dreams that aren't truly yours. You might struggle in roles that suppress your essence. And eventually, you might wonder why life feels like a constant uphill battle. Perhaps you're striving for success yet always feel it's not enough. Perhaps you give and give in relationships but always feel empty in return. Maybe you've built a stable life, yet inside, you feel like something's missing. These are not coincidences. They are signs, your soul's way of speaking. Jung taught that real transformation begins when we look inward, when we dare to face the parts of ourselves we've long ignored. Self-awareness, he said, is like turning on the light in a dark room. Suddenly, what once felt confusing becomes clear. What once felt threatening starts to make sense. And one way to begin that journey is to ask, what is my birth month trying to tell me about who I am? Imagine, for a moment, that your birth wasn't an accident. That every challenge you faced had meaning. That your strengths aren't random, they are gifts. And your struggles? They are invitations for growth. Some people are born with the energy of leadership, bold, direct, courageous, but they might struggle with impatience or control. Others are born with emotional sensitivity, deeply empathetic, intuitive, but risk emotional exhaustion if they don't set boundaries. Some are natural healers, others are seekers of truth, and some are born to create or protect. But when you live out of alignment with your nature, life becomes heavy. You try to be someone you're not, to meet expectations that aren't your own. And slowly, you begin to forget who you really are. Take Anna, for example. She was born in April, a month of fire, courage, and action. She's a doer, a natural leader, but deep down, she constantly feels she's not doing enough. She criticizes herself for not achieving more, even when she's already accomplished so much. This is the shadow side of April's energy, self-pressure and impatience. Jung taught that every archetype has both light and shadow. And if we only live from one side, we become imbalanced. For Anna, the healing came when she realized she didn't always have to do more. Sometimes true power lies in knowing when to pause. Then there's Roberto, born in May, a month tied to stability, security, and grounding. He spent his whole life providing for his family, building a solid career, being dependable. But now, approaching retirement, he feels empty. What once brought him pride now feels meaningless. Why? Because May's shadow is fear of the unknown and an excessive need for control. Roberto never asked himself, what truly brings me joy? But when he let go of control and embraced uncertainty, he discovered peace. His identity expanded beyond just being a provider. He became someone who could explore, create, and simply be. Now consider Helena, born in February. She embodied empathy and emotional support. She always gave, to her partners, her friends, her family, but deep down, she felt invisible. That's the shadow of the empath, forgetting to love oneself. Her life changed when she realized that true compassion must include herself. That setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's self-respect. And when she honored her own needs, her relationships became deeper, healthier, and more balanced. These stories are not for comparison. They are mirrors, so you can begin to ask, am I living in the light or shadow of my own archetype? Am I honoring who I am, or am I trying to become someone I'm not? Jung warned us, if we ignore the unconscious, it doesn't disappear, it rules us. The same emotional patterns repeat. The same relationships fall apart. The same frustrations resurface, until we stop and look. Maybe you've gone through a divorce, lost a job, or had a health scare. Maybe in those moments you asked, why is this happening to me? But now, I invite you to see those experiences differently. What if they weren't punishments, but wake-up calls? What if they were invitations to grow? Jung called this the process of individuation, becoming whole by integrating both our light and shadow. It doesn't mean eliminating fear or pain, but understanding their role in our journey. When you shine a light on your inner world, you stop being a passive character in your story, you become the author. You start to see that you can choose differently. You're not trapped, you're just waiting to awaken. Think back to a moment when your world fell apart. Perhaps you felt lost, but now, with new eyes, what lessons did that moment carry? What part of yourself was trying to be seen? We are all shaped by our birth environment, not just where we were born, but when, the season, the sounds, the energy of that moment, it all plays into who we are. And your birth month is not just a number. It's a doorway, a code, a symbol. Jung believed that the universe speaks through patterns, and unless we learn to read them, we will live the same chapters again and again. But once we see the pattern, we're free to write a new one. So I ask you now, what archetype are you living out? Are you in its light, or its shadow? What lesson has your birth month been trying to teach you all along? The good news is, it's never too late to find out. You don't have to be stuck in old stories. You don't have to repeat the same pain. You have the power to listen, to understand, to choose again. Because as Jung said, where your fear is, there is your power. So don't run from yourself. Lean in, ask the questions, trace the patterns, look back at your birth not as a random event, but as the beginning of a sacred dance between you and the universe. The rhythm has always been there. Now, it's your turn to find your steps, and dance it boldly.